Okay, Brian, we are live. I've just started the recording. We can just start jumping right into this call.
Yep.
There's a lot of material I want to go over because I know your agency and the way that you guys have things set up is very unique. But before I do that, do you want to just introduce yourself, your company, anything you want to say about, I guess, that area?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, George, for having me on. My name is Brian Meng. I'm the founder at Connectly. Essentially, we're a growth consulting firm that works with a variety of different industries, including biotech, pharma, construction, real estate development, and like a bunch of other industries as well. But again, we come in as kind of like a sales and also marketing, and also a product consultancy where we really find gaps within the client's business, and we help them solve those challenges essentially and create customized solutions to those challenges. And we work B2B, and yeah, that's just a quick introduction about us.
Okay, yeah. So that's very interesting. Now I know that this is not my first interview, and I've spoken to a lot of Lead Academy students, and a lot of the guys in Lead Academy are going after very basic industries like
Mhm.
agencies, other coaches and consultants. What made you want to go after these I guess very serious industries like you mentioned?
Yeah, I think most people, like especially people that have like a lead gen agency, they tend to start out with SaaS or marketing agencies or something like that. Where there's a lot of competition. You're in a very saturated market. That's why I personally started out. Like I still have clients within those industries, obviously, but
Hmm.
we pivoted from that. Like I think last year, like Q4 last year, and it's really just more about finding profitable opportunities because I feel like a lot of people they lack that entrepreneurial sense to actually go about like finding gaps in the market, and
Hmm.
they just want to go after marketing agencies because that's what the guru told them and that's what
Hmm.
they see everyone else doing. So I think the way that we look at business and like running this business as a whole, like if you want to make money, it's more about selling to people that are already at the higher end of the market, right? Like they have money
Hmm.
to deploy, whether if they're funded or if the industry as a whole, they just, there's more opportunity to actually make money there. It just
Hmm.
makes a lot more sense, right? And I think personally for us, like we just found good traction within those markets, like specifically healthcare, and markets like that. And we just started to serve people that could, number one, just pay us more, but also we can just develop better relationships as a whole. Because working with
Hmm.
agencies, I felt like the relationship was just really low quality. I just didn't really like that dynamic, so that's kind of why we wanted to switch that as well. Yeah.
Hmm. Of course, yeah. And I mean, honestly, like I'm in the boat that you used to be right now, where we are working with primarily those, I guess, more competitive industries, like like the agencies. But we have had, and we still do have clients in these very specific industries, like for example, like logistics, right? Where like I totally see why somebody would want to work in those industries exclusively. Like
Yeah.
one logistics deal over the span of 20 years could be worth millions of dollars. And, like there's so much more upside there. And, somebody that comes into logistics, for example, like no one's doing cold email in logistics, or I mean, at least not as many people that are doing cold email like something like agencies. So
Yeah.
I definitely see kind of like the upside potential after going at more of these like upmarket industries, right, where people are spending more money. They're run by older people who have less technical know-how, so that really does make a lot of sense. I know you talked about making a custom solution, right, for these people that you're selling these services to. What exactly does that look like? Because is it primarily cold email? Do you kind of venture off to other delivery mechanisms? What does that kind of look like?
Yeah, great question. So, uh, I mean, the way that I guess we kind of sell like our services is, um, we're basically creating like a custom strategy for them. I know like a lot of guys that's selling paid ads or they're doing I don't know like e-com, email marketing and stuff like that. They want to create like a custom strategy, and it's not like this fits all solution. And that's kind of like what we do as well. Like we had that discovery phase where we find out like all the pain points, the problems, and then we start to hypothesize like custom solutions to solve those specific challenges. So just to drop some sauce for everyone real quick, like for example, like if a prospect they have distribution issues, like they need on ground distribution. They need people to figure out like the logistics, like shipping, for example. Like we can solve that problem for them, and we basically sell like exactly what they need, right? Because we're able to have that figured out somehow, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's basically how we look at it. The core basis of the company is like sales, marketing, and product. That's basically the foundation of like what we do. So marketing, obviously, like outbound prospecting, cold email, LinkedIn, cold calling. Sales, obviously, just helping them structure a better sales process for both inbound leads and outbound leads, and just make sure that we're hitting KPIs when it comes to closing customers. And product, like just making sure that we have product market fit, going deep into you know the value proposition that we're leading with,
Yeah.
if it resonates with the market, and just stuff like that, right? And I think, if you have like that unique touch about your company and like your services, rather than just being like a lead generation company, you're going to have an edge over your competitors, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's something that, that's where we found success in. And I think people can definitely model after that.
Of course, of course. Yeah, and I mean, you guys are definitely, you could just tell that you guys are much further down the line than like another lead generation agency owner. I feel like, I mean, just by having Lead Academy and like seeing like what a lot of students think about and like a lot of the types of questions they ask, I feel like a lot of people in marketing, they're not even fully aware of like really what is product market fit. And they're not really aware of like what it's like when a product is really wanted by a market, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard the saying too. Like if you build a good product, like people will come running to buy it. And I feel like that kind of has two sides to it. Like obviously, a product still needs marketing, but if a product has a good product market fit, like selling it will be a piece of cake, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's not something that a lot of people even know. Like they're not really aware of product market fit, and to know that you guys help out with that is, sounds very very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. I think the way that most people look at product market fit is like if a cold email campaign is working or not. Like that's not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's definitely aspects to it where okay, if the claim resonates with the market, that's indicating product market fit, but it's not the whole basis to it, right? I think,
Mm-hmm.
if you validate the marketing channel, I mean, there's definitely indication that there's product market fit. But if you're going deeper, like looking at the calls, looking at how conversations go, if you're looking at market trends within that specific industry, like you can kind of gauge the market and you'll kind of know like whether or not this product will even work before even
Mm-hmm.
signing a customer, right? But yeah, like we start off like the way we look at it is like obviously look at the marketing channel to see if it works or not, and then we go deeper, like actually on the calls, looking at the LTV, things like that, making sure that the unit economics like of the business, like the actual client's business, it's profitable, right? Because we see a lot of companies that are just not making any money, right? Like whether if they're funded or not, they're just not a profitable company, and that is usually the indication where there's no product market fit. Even if
Mm-hmm.
you're making money, if you're not making a good margin on the business, then I don't think that business is viable when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
product market fit. So I think if you really want to make like big money, like you have to go like a step deeper down the line. And as you said,
Mm-hmm.
I think most people, it's great that you start off like in a lead gen business where you're just simply booking appointments, but as you start to build those fundamental skills, you start to build up like business acumen. You can really go like a lot deeper and solve more critical problems inside a business, right? And that's where you can
Mm-hmm.
drive the most amount of value.
Of course. Yeah, and I mean that's exactly what I think everybody should be aiming to do. I
Yeah.
feel like just bringing in leads is a very shallow, I guess, part. Like just a lead isn't really going to be like a conversion. Like the closer that you can get to guaranteed revenue for a business, the more that you can just easily charge them, right? So I mean, I totally understand sort of where you're coming from, and I guess that brings me to my next question, which is compensation structure, right? Since you guys are set up more as like a growth partner, I know a lot of growth partners tend to go and have like well, they'll take commission for how much they make. I forget what the term for it is. It like revenue share or something like that. Are you comfortable sharing? Like, what do you guys do in terms of compensation structures?
Yeah, so that again, like it varies on like the solution and like the company that we're pitching. So first, like we look, at the actual company that we're going to be selling to. So whether or not they're funded, what stage they're in, if they are funded, like which funding round they're in, whether if it's like, it's a seed company or if it's a Series A company. like just how long, if how long they've been around, if they're pre-revenue, if they're post-revenue, and we kind of just study the business and do our due diligence before jumping on the call. So we kind of have an idea, like, okay, this is how much they should be spending. This is kind of what their budget looks like. And then
Mm-hmm.
once we're actually on the call, like obviously we go through that discovery phase and we start asking questions. Once we actually kind of figure out, okay, we can help this prospect, we can help them achieve this specific goal, then we kind of price the services off there. So we have a few different like structures that we typically go for. So the first one is like the traditional, retainer, where we have this set fee per month, and that's the amount that they'll be paying. And then we have a revenue share on top of that. So that's typically around 5 to 10%. It could be a little bit more if they are like a really profitable company. And then we also do, a setup fee, which is usually, higher ticket. So like it's around like 8 to 15K one time, and then they would go like pay per call or like a revenue share, and then maybe like further down the line we might even have like a higher ticket retainer come in as well, right? So usually those two are like what we go after. Sometimes like what we're doing now is like we're focusing on pure rev share deals as well. Like if we're confident that we can drive this amount of revenue or we can get you this amount of business, we'll just take them up on a pure rev share deal, and then we can have like a really good relationship with the customer long term. If we
Mm-hmm.
know that the contract sizes are worthwhile for us to actually go after, if they're big contracts, and if we are confident that we can get results, then that's basically that's how we look at things from a pricing standpoint.
Yeah, yeah, that's very interesting. That's definitely refreshing to hear from the typical, setup fee and paper calls. So, and I mean, yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of people should definitely consider going after those more competitive industries. I feel like there's people that I've heard who are not confident with even charging a $2,000-3,000 setup fee, where there's other guys like you and like other guys like people just like you who are comfortable charging an 8 15,000 8 to 10 $8 to 15,000 setup fee and a paper call on top, and then on top of that they're also going to get results, and that relationship is going to flourish, because I
Yeah.
feel like once you go after these good industries and you know what you're doing, I mean it's just kind of like money waiting to be made. So I mean that's definitely refreshing to hear. Just out of curiosity, like what knowing all of this and knowing this complex industry, where have you guys kind of seen the most value in Lead Academy? Because I'm sure some of it is going to be from the scrapers and the tools and all those things, but where are you kind of seeing the most value?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think I've been like inside the group for like 6 months now. So since
Mm-hmm.
whether if it's like March or February, somewhere there. So I've definitely been inside for a while, and I'll say like we found value in like basically every aspect, when it comes to like our business personally. So obviously like beforehand, like we were already pretty knowledgeable when it came to like lead gen, paid ads, sales as well, especially. I think joining the group, it kind of allowed us to fully leverage like the technical aspect of lead gen, because that's something I feel like is kind of our weakness. Like we're not really as tapped in as most lead gen guys, I feel like, because we don't really prioritize our efforts in that area, even though we should be. So I think when we joined in, like we found a lot of value when it came to obviously your guys' course content, like the modules that you guys have out. That was number one and very valuable. But also, I think what's even more valuable is just having access to a community. So I
Mm-hmm.
think having the group in place, it's like something that's pretty crucial, especially if you're a beginner, right? If you're a beginner, you definitely need the group. But for someone like us, like we kind of had an idea of like this is what we're doing. We're making money already, but having a group of just people that are smarter than you, they have more expertise when it came to this specific domain of the business, which is cold email and the more technical aspects. It was super valuable because we can just jump in, ask questions, and just get help right away, right? And I think George, like you've done a great job when it comes to just making sure that the members are active, they're engaged. You're hosting weekly calls and whatever discount codes and special promos inside. And I think it's just a good place to be, especially like if you're in this world of business, if you're doing B2B business, or if you're running a lead gen agency or whatever it is. I think just having a community is just super helpful. And also obviously like the scraping tools, everything like that, like I think the first month that we joined in, like we scraped at least like 100,000 leads minimum. And now like I think in total, like you guys have saved us like thousands of dollars, probably like within, the five figures when it comes to like data, when it comes to getting good data. And I think it's just been super valuable in that aspect. But also, just to keep rambling here, I know like within the campaigns, like we had a period like we had bad deliverability. And I think that, everyone that does cold email, they have those periods where things kind of go crashing down for a little bit and they're stressed out. We had that happen to us, which is also why we wanted to join the group. Is like we needed experts to really jump on the case and to help us out. So we joined in and we got help right away. Like we were able to solve, our deliverability. We were able to find the right solutions, the right partners, where we can get better, infrastructure or anything like that. And I love just how the group we're able to get like real time like announcements as to like what's going on in the space, because I know like you make these announcements where it's like, hey guys, like recently we found that Outlook is performing a little bit weaker compared to Google, or this domain provider is a little bit better than Pork Bun, or so on, right? So I think
Hmm.
just having that real time data and having people being there to help you when shit hits the fan, it's like super helpful, and allows us to stay on top of the business. So.
Of course, yeah, and I'm really glad to hear that you are enjoying a lot of these aspects. I
Mhm.
feel like a big reason why we have a lot of these things is because we actually still run a lead gen agency ourselves, right?
Yeah,
It's not like we used to run a lead gen agency and now we just are course creators. Like we run an agency first. That is the business model that actually like we make our money from, right? The coaching program is like the second thing rather than the other way around. And I feel like even though there aren't many competitors to Lead Academy, like there just aren't that many programs that just sell this sort of information. The ones that do, not a lot of those people actually run agencies anymore. So I really don't know how their audience expects them to be able to deliver the most recent information when they don't even know, right? Like
yeah,
we're constantly running tests. We have hundreds of accounts right now warming up, running tests, testing different warm up settings, different sending platforms, testing different account providers, this domain, this setting, and like obviously when you're in the day, like in the day to day testing things, like you're obviously going to be able to go and replicate and show this information to other people, right? And especially
right,
with the tools, like we didn't just make these tools only for Lead Academy users. We made these tools for ourselves and we're sharing them with the Lead Academy users, right? And like
exactly.
another thing, like I'm sure you've experienced this before as well. Like we're about to release this new tool which is going to be like an Apollo query generator, which is you ever have like a big list of like websites, like 100,000 websites, and you need to put them in like 6K at a time into Apollo because 7K doesn't even work sometimes, and you have to sit there at your computer doing it manually. Like we're about to help people automate that by creating this tool, right? And a lot
Yeah,
of these things, like you would never be able to create them unless you actually own an agency. Like you would never know that these are things that people need in the market. So I think that's one of the big benefits of specifically Lead Academy, that we actually are in the agency world. We are actually doing this sort of stuff. And that helps a lot, right? Because when deliverability issues start to come up, like we're experiencing them too. We got dozens of clients when all of a sudden the campaigns start performing like worse. We're just like, like what's going on here? And we have to figure it out. And then on
yeah,
top of that, like there's tons of people in the community, tons of lead gen agency owners who all are hearing data from other people. I mean, Vabanov, the founder of SmartLead, is in the community. Whenever there's deliverability issues, he's usually in there helping people out. I don't want to name drop, but like there's tons of people from Cold Email in Lead Academy, and I feel like having that one central place of people all sharing information around, I mean, it definitely helps. And one of the greatest parts is it's not like Lead Academy is like $5,000. It's
yeah,
not like Lead Academy is like thousands of dollars. It's $49 a month at the base plan, or $99 if you want the tools. So it's like, unless you're just like completely a beginner, like you literally just have $0 personal net worth, it's not like we're asking you for a massive financial commitment. On top of the fact that there's a guaranteed no questions asked refund for the first 7 days, you know, I guess it's just like an offer. We built it. The whole idea behind Lead Academy was we're gonna build it as the community that we wanted when we were getting started, right? So I guess that was the inspiration. It's really really good to hear everything that you just said, because that's telling us that we're doing things right. And I mean, yeah, like that's really just my feedback on what you said, which is just I'm really glad to hear because you put a lot of effort into it, put a lot of money into it, and people are actually enjoying it. But I guess my question to you, and no shame if you don't have anything like this. Is there any quantifiable, I guess, measure that you can get from Lead Academy? Any like specific, maybe you signed a client off something you learned, or maybe you made this amount of money from the information you learned. Is there anything like that that you can share from your learnings in Lead Academy?
Yeah, for sure. So I think, as I said, like we save like a lot of money joining the group. Like again, like it's like a $50 or $99 subscription that we're paying each month, and it's super affordable. And we have access to, obviously like the information that you guys put out, but also like the data, the scraping tools. That alone has saved us thousands of dollars. So I'm gonna say like 4 to 5 figures within that range. I don't have like a specific number, but I know it saved us, a ton of money. Also, I think when it comes to our campaigns and just making sure that things are going well, things are going smoothly, having the most optimal copywriting when it comes to our cold emails and everything like that, I've, I'll definitely say like we've generated a lot of money from it. I don't know like a specific number that we have joining the group, but I know that we've generated at least $100 million over pipeline within that period. So again, like we've been in the group for like 6 months now. We've done a lot of advancements within our business. And I'll confidently say that, the clients that we have, our own business as well, like we use a lot of the teachings that you guys have when it comes to copywriting and writing the outbound messages. So like we have, our clients going off, with your guys's, copywriting scripts and things like that. And it's, working very well. And also I think when it comes to like making sure that things are going good, like, having deliverability problems, things like that, we were able to mitigate that a lot from joining the group. So I think that value is honestly priceless. Like just making sure that things are going well, and that we don't, have everything turning off suddenly. I think that's super valuable. But yeah, that's basically like what we've seen quantifiably.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's great to hear, Brian. I know we're a little bit over the interview time already, so I think we should just wrap it up here.
For sure.
It was a big pleasure speaking to you, right? As always, I mean, you guys are killing it. I mean, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of people in Elite Academy. A lot of people join and then just do nothing about it, right? You guys have definitely actually taken advantage of the stuff that's in there. So that's great to see that you guys are killing it. I'm sure you're making plenty of money. I'm sure that next time we have this conversation in about 6, 7 months, you guys are probably going to be 5 times further. So, that's great to hear. But thank you for your time, Brian. Is there anything else you want to say before I end off this recording? Anything you want to share?
I think if you're watching this right now and you're not in the group, you gotta tap in. You gotta make sure you join up because honestly, the people inside they're all killers. You have access to just such a good like network, and also just having good information constantly. Like if you want to make it in this business, especially online business, like you have to make sure you're tapped into like the latest methods, what's working right now. You have to make sure you have like good people around you that's like also doing the same thing within your industry. So I think if you're watching, like you just have to join. If you want to make it, like doing a lead gen business or any B2B company, and you want to grow substantially, just join in right now. And yeah, just tap in.
Okay, Brian. I'm really glad to hear you say that. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and until next time.